Okay, this video we're going to look at creating a couple of very basic looking special effects, but they're done using what's called the stroke effect, which allow us to kind of use this as an opportunity to look at the stroke tool, because it is actually, or the stroke effect rather, because it is a very versatile tool that can be used for lots of different purposes. So we're going to use it today just to kind of draw in a couple of kind of laser blasts. Very basic, but we can maybe look at making them a little bit more complex as we go. Okay, so that's the effect. Essentially what we're looking at. So if you watched the lightning strike video before this, you'll know that the matte images are track mattes that are masking off the areas that the effect is going to be seen. And that just allows us to make things look like they're outside the window and that they're also, you know, behind buildings. Okay, so I'm not going to do that in this video. We're just going to look at how the stroke effect is applied. So I'm going to go back to basics and look at or start a composition based on our plate, our image, and I'm going to create a solid and just call it stroke 1. I'm going to do it in the middle. Now I can switch this off for now, just to draw the mask, or draw a mask where I want the beam to happen. In this case, I want it to start out here. I'm going to hold down Shift. I'm going to get it to kind of come down here so that it kind of blasts its way down along that mask. Just in case you can't see that mask, let's change its color to red. Oh, didn't change it. Okay, so it's going to come down that mask. So masks are used as kind of the backbone for how the stroke is applied. So once we have our mask drawn, we can go up to our effects and presets, and we can just look for stroke. I think it's under generate, and it's one of the oldest effects, I imagine, and it's used for a lot of things, as I say, but we're going to use it for its laser-like appearance. And I'm going to first of all go into the effect, and I'm going to increase the brush size massively. No, sorry, I had switched it off. I need to switch it back on again, and I need to change the paint style down at the bottom to on transparent. I want the stroke on the solid, but I don't want to see the solid. Now I'll take that brush size way down again to about here, and I can change the hardness to 0 to give it a nice kind of soft blurry edge. I can maybe bring the size up a little bit more. Now you can do lots in here. I mean, you could change the color if you wanted as well. You could kind of make it into a kind of a neon pink or something like that. And of course you can always change the blend mode to make it look more like it's kind of in that scene. Okay, so I'll leave it at normal for the moment. I might change the blend mode towards the end. Right, so we have the stroke drawn using the mask that we applied to the solid, and the stroke has been modified to have a new color, a new brush size, and a hardness. Now, when we are animating it, we're going to be animating the start and the end properties. So let's just have a look at those. I drew this point first, so that's the start. I drew this point second, so it's the end. So if I bring the end back, it comes back in from that second point. If I bring the start forward, it brings it forward from that point. So that allows us to create that kind of moving down look, as if it's kind of blasting out from something. So I'll come out just a tiny bit on the timeline, and I'll hit the E key because I want to see my effect. And I want to see all these down here. So I like to see the keyframes actually on front of me. So I'm going to keyframe both, and I'm going to bring the end in. I'll come out just a little bit. Now I'll retime them afterwards, but I'm just going to come down a little bit there, and I'm going to bring the end down. And I'm also going to click on the new keyframe button there, so it adds a second version of the start property there, because I want it to come down. I don't want the start to do anything until it's come all the way down, and then I want the start to come down after it. Okay, like that. So I'm kind of offsetting it in a way. Now I will actually draw the the matte. So I'll do a quick one here, the track matte rather. So I'll draw the solid matte mid again. Oh God. Right. And I can switch that off and start drawing on it. Now I can be much more precise here because I know exactly where it's going to be. Now I'll actually switch off that for the moment. Now you can be more precise. And I think I just want to come down there and same as before. Just feather that 3 pixels. Switch back on the stroke and set that to be its alpha track matte. Okay, so we can now see that looks a little bit hard and nasty there. So what I might do is up that a little bit more. There we go. It's a little bit better. And so it's very slow. So I just need to bring up the effect again there and retime that just by selecting them all, holding down Alt, clicking and dragging, bringing that in. That's better. So now you can go back and you can play with it now. You know, you have it, you have the hard work done. So now it's just a matter of changing colors and you know, trying out the lighten or screen or something like that and seeing how that looks. You could also, no, I'm not going to do any more to it in case I start going wrong. So these are the kind of things that you can do. Now, I might just try and push it a little bit forward actually. So if I duplicate all of those, and now I have 2 versions, I could go into this one, change the brush size, and change that back to normal maybe. Change the brush size. Change the color so that I could have a kind of a, you know, bit more of a laser looking thing going on there. Bring the brush size up a little bit there. So you can see anyway, you can play with it. You'll notice though that it does affect the duration and the length of the stroke when you start changing values like that. But you know, it's got that little bit more of a laser kind of look to it. I'm sure there's better ways that you could do that, but anyway, that's one of the ways that you could do it. But just as a default, doesn't look too bad. Comes down behind that building nicely. Okay, so it's just riffing on track mattes and effects and things like that. So there's, you know, many ways that you could do this. This is just a nice starter in that we've got some static objects with straight lines, but it could just as easily be a person moving on front of this now that you might rotoscope and various other things like that.